folks leave, and I was waiting for them, but I think they've gone. So we're going to move on with our next speaker. Our next speaker has a passion for long distance running. He's a retired professor from the University of Great Falls. He started his walk with Toastmasters in 1981, and in 2007, Rich was one of the top 10 at the International Speech Contest. Rich has completed level 5 of his presentation mastery pathway. He says it was a transforming process that has instilled confidence and courage, and that you'll love it, no matter what the path you've chosen. Why? What made it great? Reflections on completing presentation mastery. Reflections on completing presentation mastery. Rich Brennan.
Does this thing move?
It does. Do you want to
Tilt it and roll. Tilt it the other way.
Oh, roll it the other way.
Roll it.
Okay, cool. Wow. Thank you. Thank you.
Excuse me.
My God is very upset with you. You as Native Americans are not giving us food anymore. And tonight, my God is going to show you, my God is going to show you by disappearing the moon. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, that is one of the speeches that I did during Pathways. It was in level 1, and it was researching your topic. I had an opportunity to talk about something that I love to talk about, Christopher Columbus. If you were there that day, you know that I dressed up as Christopher Columbus. This is something that in our manuals is speech number 8. But here we are in level number 1 and 2, being encouraged to research a topic and give a speech about it. And I thought that that was so exciting. Raise your hand if you've lately heard anybody give a research your topic from Pathways. Anybody? Yes. We got them all over the place. And we get to hear a lot of different things that people have passions about. And it makes it easier to begin a speech. And it emphasizes something that we probably didn't emphasize before, and that is, it isn't just about being able to deliver a good speech, but it's about being able to do a speech about a topic that we have passion about. And I've been able to see some great passion from people who are researching topics, either in one or two ways. A topic that they maybe don't know a lot about, but really want to know a lot about. And their enthusiasm shows when they do that. And the other topic, like mine, is to be able to find out more about a topic you really love. So that's in level 1. That's one of the great things that I see happening in level 1. And the audience in that speech, for me, got to hear that Columbus made 4 trips to the New World. And on the 4th trip, he took a 14-year-old son with him on the trip. Many people aren't even aware of that. And so it's there's a difference in the assignments that make it very exciting to do the pathways. Speaking mastery, that was my pathway, and last week I finished it off to go to all 5 levels. Who is somebody who mentored you in or out of Toastmasters? Think back in your career, in your personal life, who is somebody who mentored you? Raise your hand when you have somebody in mind. Yeah. That's what this assignment was forcing me to do. Every single one of us is going to have to do that assignment because it goes across all of the pathways. Raise your hand if you've already done this assignment in Pathways. Anybody? Okay, yes. I got to hear that. That was a great opportunity. I got to go back. You can do it for people in your career as well as in Toastmasters. what I got out of this is to go back and look to J.C. Crawford. I called him the great electrifier. He was a preacher, and he was also a part-time instructor at community college. I got to sit next to him my first year in Toastmasters, way back in 1981. And he was my mentor. I didn't say, will you be my mentor, but I sat next to him, and he knew I was a professor who kind of thought he knew how to speak, because I was the director of public speaking and I was training graduate students how to teach the course. I had some arrogance about me, and yet watching him and getting some comments from him over the years really launched me on a career in Toastmasters that was really helpful. I won't go into specifics, but when you do this assignment, it's going to do something for you that it did for me, and that is you will really go back and appreciate the guy who helped you or the gal who helped you in a new way. I never really thought about this man for 30 years, and don't even know he's alive, but this assignment then makes us realize how important mentors are. And the beauty of this in Toastmasters, bringing this out right away in Toastmasters, right away to encourage us to be mentoring other people. That was great. Another assignment that was awesome for me was
Dance class.
nonverbal communication. Effective body language. But this is a speech, all they do, before they just talked about body language, pick a subject that enhances body language and go do it to the club. That's what was in the manual. Your body speaks, number 4. This assignment tells you to get a speech that facilitates body language. Go to somebody in your club, set up a videotape machine, rehearse your talk with your mentor there watching you. And then you sit down with them and you watch the videotape, and your mentor there comments on how you could be more effective as communicator with your body language. Then, and only then, do you step into the Toastmasters meeting and do this speech. And I'll tell you, it makes a huge difference from watching yourself, getting critiqued, and then going to the meeting and doing this speech. Jackie Goldhahn was my evaluator. She also was sitting over in Barnes & Noble with me in a corner. I rehearsed it. And she said 2 things about me. She said, you know, Rich, when you act like this woman, you're stiff. And I saw that I was stiff. And then she said, you didn't even smile. This woman is supposed to be having a good time. That's what I learned. That's a simple thing that I learned from this project because it was done in a new way. A keynote speech that I had to give was one of the last things. You had to do a 20 to 40 minute keynote address. I did it twice. Once at Speakeasy in the morning, 13 minutes, and then came over to Electric City and did a 22-minute version. What this project tells you is how to structure and organize a speech that has 3 main points to it. I've never seen it before. Raise your hand if you have completed level 5 in Pathways. You know what that means? I'm the expert. It also could mean if Briner can do it, it can't be that hard. But on this this particular speech, the keynote speech, I was able to give that. Here's what's going to happen if you have somebody doing a 20-minute, 25-minute keynote speech at your club. What happened at Electric City that day is we had about 7 people there. Right? Gina evaluated me. We only had about 7 or 8 people there. If you don't have 2 speakers, there's 2 people that aren't going to be there, a second speaker and a second evaluator. Anyway, that's what happened. But it didn't matter. It was great. In level 4, this was one of the most challenging topics that I've ever had. It's called managing a difficult audience. You're supposed to do a 5 to 7 minute speech, and beforehand you're supposed to talk to your Toastmaster, and you're supposed to give your Toastmaster these roles that people are supposed to play to interrupt your speech in the middle of the speech. This is not a question and answer after the speech. This is in the middle of your speech. Side talkers. Who are my side talkers? Some of them were right here. 3 side talkers. Yeah, and so they were assigned this role that in the middle of my speech, they're supposed to side talk. And their directions are, just keep side talking until he does something. So I went over to you guys and looked at you. That's what they told me to do, look at them. But they didn't stop. So I said what the book said is, do you have something you want to share with the whole group? No. So they shut down. So they're not supposed to try to heckle me anymore. Then there's somebody else. There were 6 of these people. I didn't know who they were. And so all of a sudden, somebody would come up and interrupt me. One of them was the talker. Out of the clear blue, somebody would just start bellowing out their opinion.
What's your point, Rich?
We'll get to that part of the meeting a little bit later, Brian. If you can wait until then, is that okay? Something like that. You had to shut those suckers down. And I noticed that we had a full house at Electric City that day. Full house. Because people came in and wondered, hey, we're going to get Briner today. We're going to be able to see something that we've never seen before at a Toastmaster meeting. And so it really went good. And here's what I did. I thought, well, they're going to be reluctant to interrupt me if I'm doing a very personal, vulnerable speech. So I gave a speech entitled, There's Hope for the Mentally Ill. And I told the story about, I'm a former mental patient. I was in Veterans Hospital 6 months. I had a service-connected disability. I'm so old that they didn't even have PTSD back then. And so that was my speech, all about that. And I thought, people like Channing Artelius and
I thought I was going to get shanked.
Anyway, I thought that they'd be reluctant to interrupt me because of this. No. They didn't pay any attention to it. And 5 to 7 minute speech, my evaluator was Carrie Uturi. My evaluator wasn't even supposed to care about the speech. She was supposed to evaluate on how I handled the questions. And this was a really exciting thing to see. And I hope I get to see again to see how other people do this. Handling the hostile audience. Preparing you to go out and be a professional speaker. And the last, where's my time? Who's keeping time?
You're close.
5 minutes.
5 minutes. There's another one that they had that was a challenge. It was pretty easy for me. You did another 5 to 7 minute speech. They don't care what it is, what its purpose is. And then you open it up for question and answers from the audience. How do you time and handle, in an organized, professional way, a question and answer period? I got very low marks on that one. I did it at Speakeasy. You were there. Pat Terry was my evaluator. I structured the questions and I salted the audience with questions. They would ask me and I would repeat them back, and I got low marks. But I finished on time. I learned some things. I didn't do a perfect job on any of these speeches, but I learned so much. I have much more confidence than I had 6 or 7 months ago, because you can't go through this thing without gaining some